You are listening to Practical and Woo by Mindset and Manifest. My name is Eden, and I invite you to embark on a journey with me to explore the practical and spiritual edges of the unknown for the purpose of allowing you to embody and empower yourself uniquely as you are and to intentionally create and live a life of freedom and fulfillment. Each week, I am going to discuss topics such as energetics, reality creation, manifestation, astrology, tarot, and more to help empower you to live beyond perceived limitations and to practically design your life so it feels like absolute magic every step of the way. Let's dive in. Well, hello, brilliant soul. Today's episode is an invitation to radically shift the way we perceive the parts of ourselves that we've been conditioned to reject. Each and every one of us has aspects, habits, parts of ourselves that we condemn, those which we label as bad or wrong. And instead of facing them with curiosity and understanding, there's a common tendency to exile them, a belief that if ignored long enough, said tendencies will simply disappear. As we've come to explore before, suppression, repression, and rejection only fuels the cycle of pain and discomfort. The more we push our sticky aspects into the shadows, the more they manifest in ways that keep us stuck, which then ultimately manifest as patterns that lead to self-judgment and frustration, which is most definitely not our desired aim. What if we could truly know and understand that our often most rejected, shame-ridden parts of ourselves were not, in fact, obstacles, but instead guides? What if, instead of resisting them, we cultivated the courage to turn toward them and consider their underlying lessons? Every single one of us humans has or will experience the feeling of wanting to change something of ourselves. Maybe we label ourselves as too emotional, too lazy, too selfish, too inconsistent. Maybe we identify these traits as things that need to be fixed or eradicated. Take procrastination, for example, a behavior that many of us judge or feel judged about. Procrastination is often perceived as a weakness, an ironclad proof of one's quote-unquote lack of discipline or drive. And so we so often have this tendency to double down on ourselves, trying to force ourselves to push through procrastination. And somehow, the weighty vice grip of procrastination seems to worsen, causing a loop of even more self-insecurity. The interesting and even ironic thing about a habit, such as procrastination, is that it actually tends not to be the root of the issue, and instead is a symptom of something deeper. It is not a sign of a flaw or a failure of sorts, simply an unmet need and a learning curve that lies beneath it. This consideration, in fact, applies to all of the shadow parts we so often try to suppress. None are random, nor are they flaws. They are expressions of something deeper, signposts pointing us toward what truly needs our attention. So rather than asking, how do I get rid of my procrastination, my hypervigilance, my whatever else, the real question becomes, what is this habit trying to protect me from? What lesson is hidden beneath it? For some, procrastination is protecting them from a fear of failure. If I don't start, I can't mess this up. For others, it's shielding them from the pressure of success. If I do well, will I have to maintain it forever? For some, a tendency toward being too much or too emotional, coming from years of being told to tone it down. If I take up too much space, I may be rejected. For others, self-sabotage, for example, is a way of staying in the familiar. If I keep myself small, then I don't risk disappointment. When we label these parts of ourselves as bad without investigating them, we miss their deeper guidance, a beacon that often has within it the roadmap to the fulfillment of our conscious desires. Because if you learn that you have an underlying fear of taking up too much space, then you can practice taking up space. If you have a fear of messing up, you can actively seek ways to celebrate yourself for your micro achievements. If you listen to the lessons and the wisdom of your most shamed parts, you gain the clarity to develop skills and perspective towards the creation of the best version of you and the best version of the life that you're living. I want to invite you into a process. If you're in a safe location, you may close your eyes. Otherwise, simply listen with your heart as you are able to. I want to invite you to imagine that part of you that you push away. Maybe it's your self-doubt, your avoidance, your need for external validation. Perhaps it's your procrastination. Picture or sense it as a figure. Allow whatever feedback to arise naturally from your body. Maybe you can see a younger version of yourself, a shape or a character that's completely new. Maybe it's a shadow standing quietly at the edge of your awareness. Maybe it's a weary traveler who has carried burdens for you all of this time. Take a deep breath and ask whatever has arisen, why are you here? What are you protecting me from? And what do you need from me? Allow whatever answer to naturally rise up within you. Without judgment, you might be surprised by what you hear. Even if you hear nothing at all or nothing comes up, that's okay. Invite yourself to stay curious and try again with a sense of allowance. You may feel surprised to learn that sometimes the answer is incredibly simple. A simple, I'm scared, I'm overwhelmed, I don't feel safe, I need compassion. Befriending these shadow parts of ourselves means listening to them, understanding them, and offering them a new way forward, recognizing that they are a storehouse for some of the most potent insight available to us. At the heart of this work is compassion. The way we talk to ourselves matters. Imagine if instead of berating yourself, you met yourself with understanding. Imagine if instead of seeing your shadow traits as enemies, you saw them as invitations to look deeper, to heal, to create new ways of being. The parts of us we tend to villainize are often just parts that are scared, parts that are protective, or parts that learned to cope in a particular way. When we bring these parts of ourselves into the light of our clear and conscious mind, when we offer them love instead of rejection, we reclaim our power. So next time you find yourself stuck in an old pattern, pause, take a breath, ask yourself, what is this part of me really asking for? The more you allow yourself to embrace and befriend these parts of yourself, the more freedom you create, the more ease you allow. And isn't that the ultimate goal? To move through life with less resistance, more trust, and a deeper self-acceptance. Until next time.